So we're working on our behavior. So anybody that hasn't had a chameleon before, they can be testy. They don't like being handled. We are working on that and socializing. If I can get a cricket out of the... This is really hard while holding the camera. Got one. Alright. So we are teaching him. I got these tongs. These are like 15 inches. And he is being fed with them. That may be too far away. Oh, you got it. So, when we first got him, he didn't want you coming anywhere near him. Now he's associating the tongs with food. So he was back in the back corner, and when I opened the door and held up the tongs, he ran right there to the middle to wait for food. So we are getting there. You can see he's just holding the cricket in his mouth. This is the second one I gave him, so these are dusted with vitamins. He doesn't seem to like the vitamins. He whenever I don't have the vitamins on there, he'll just wolf them down. But when you put the vitamins on, he kind of holds them in his mouth for a second before he swallows them. See if I can get the camera to focus a little better. It's not really showing his color very well. That's not bad. So it's not exactly the right color on the camera. Well, it's pretty close. His chin there is a little brighter color than what it looks like on the camera. He's just patiently waiting for another cricket. He is definitely not a picky eater. I don't know if I can do this looking at the camera. Oh, he's coming over here. Is it too far away? So we don't have any feeding issues with him. He definitely likes his food for sure. He's like, what's up with the camera, dude? So no, he does not like being held, even though he is now starting to associate us with food. He does not like it when you touch him. He acts like he'll bite you, but he really hasn't been. When I first got him, he bit me. Granted, he doesn't really have much in the way of teeth, so it doesn't hurt at all. You see his teeth there? But they're super small. So the idea is I'll hand feed him as much as I can. Eventually, when he gets to where he will eat from my hand, which he won't do right now. I tried it, well, I've only tried it once. But that's the goal, is I'll keep feeding him with the tongs. You see he's not changing to dark colors. So what they'll do is they'll change like dark browns and grays when they get upset. So he's chill right now. So before, if I was standing here talking, he would not be cool with that. He'd start changing dark colors and run off and go hide from me. So, see, that was 3 that I've given him, I think. So he may or may not take another one. Usually give him 2 or 3. He's good for 15-20 minutes before he'll take another one. Let's see. Yeah, he'll take another one. So anyway, yeah, I plan on getting him comfortable with the tongs for a while, and then I'm going to try to hand feed him. And once he gets used to hand feeding, you slowly can start working with him more and holding him to where eventually he's not scared of you anymore. And you still, even when they're cool with you, you don't really want to handle them a whole lot, because for one, they're very fragile. I mean, you can see their legs are super thin. You never want to grab one and pull it off a branch, because you will break their legs. So the first chameleon I ever had, I didn't know at the time that you couldn't keep a male and female together. So I had a veiled chameleon, and it's about the same size as him. And I bought a female and put it in there, and the female was actually a lot more aggressive than the male was. And the female ended up pushing the male off the top branch in the cage, and he fell down, and on the way down he broke 3 of his legs. So also, that was partly my fault too. Of course, it's my fault that I shouldn't have had them together, and I didn't know that at the time. But also, I had a plexiglass top on that cage, and I didn't know at the time that plexiglass actually filters out like 90% of the UV light. And most reptiles do need UV light to be able to process calcium. So he probably had some calcium issues, and so that didn't help him when he fell. So he broke 3 legs, and I did take him to the vet, and we got x-rays. That's how I knew he broke his legs. He ended up dying about, I don't know, a week later. I don't know why he ended up dying, but because the vet didn't say that anything looked life-threatening, just his legs. She put like little splints on his legs, and it got to where he wouldn't really eat very much. And then I came home from work one day and he was dead. So you got to be very careful with these guys. They're very fragile, especially when they're young. But this is the first chameleon that I've had from an actual breeder. He was significantly more expensive than the ones that I've gotten from Petco, which were like $50. This guy was $450 including shipping, I think, or $400. I don't remember. It was like $50 for shipping. So yeah, I think it was $450 total. So that's pretty average price for getting one from a breeder. But he's going to have some really nice colorations. So I think the ones from Petco, I'm reasonably confident that they could actually be wild caught, which is not good. It's not good for the wild population, and they don't do as well in captivity compared to captive bred, captive raised. So, but this guy is going to have a lot more colorations than the others that I got from Petco, for sure. So, and honestly, he does seem to be warming up to us a lot quicker than I was expecting him to. Let's see if I can get another cricket. Oh, almost had it. Got 2 little ones left in the jar, and they're pretty quick. Oh, got it. Alright, you still hungry? Sometimes he'll grab the tongs and actually pull the tongs to him. Their tongues are impressively strong. So their tongues are sticky, but they also what's the best way? It creates a suction when it hits something, so it kind of suction cups to it as well. So they're pretty strong. I mean, he'll jerk the tongs. He won't pull them out of your hand, but you can definitely feel when he pulls back on it. He's kind of sitting in the shadow there, so you can't really see his colors very well. You can see his let's see, where's my finger? Right in here. He's starting to get a little darker. He's starting to get full. His eyes aren't orange anymore. His belly's starting to get dark. He's getting kind of full, and he's gonna stop tolerating me once he decides he doesn't want any more food. So, got one more. We'll see if he'll take this one. Oh, that one got off. Alright, got it. You want another one? I think he's probably done. Huh? Maybe. So that's 6. And he'll be done for a while. He'll eat, I don't know, I think he'll eat about 12 a day. If you space them out. Man, I'm tired. It's interesting how he'll just hold them in his mouth for a while. It's like, what you doing, buddy? I think he's waiting on them to die, maybe. But yeah, you definitely tell he's not as excited to see me anymore. His colors have all darkened up now. So now he's kind of like, okay, you can leave now. So what I'm doing, I'm hand or tongue feeding him, and I'll handle him every now and then. And what I do, like I said, you don't grab them and pull them off a branch. He will try to run from you. So all you have to do is get your hand in front of him and just keep moving your hand in front of him until eventually he will climb on your hand, trying to get away from you actually, but he'll eventually, because he watches you and he doesn't always pay attention to where he's going. So while he's watching you, he'll eventually just climb on your hand, and he'll keep trying to crawl off your hand, so you just kind of keep putting one hand in front of the other and letting him continue to crawl around between your two hands. And like I said, I don't handle him more than a minute or two, and then I'll put him back. You don't want to make him associate you with bad, or make them dislike you even more. Some people think, well, if you just handle them all the time, they'll get used to it, and that's not necessarily the truth. They can start to dislike you even more if you handle them too much, because then they associate you more as a threat rather than just kind of tolerating you. Most chameleons will never like you, but some will eventually get to where they'll tolerate you and hang out with you. I did see a YouTube video where the guy said, his will just hang out on his shoulder, and he can even go to the store with it, and it just sits there. So, but that's fairly rare, and you do kind of got to work with them to get them to tolerate you. So, alright, I'm going to leave him alone. Let him chillax for a little bit. He's going to be nice and full for a little bit. So, talk to y'all later.